Hi, everyone. This is Margaret Hirsch, and you're on the move with Margaret today on my podcast. Thank you for joining us. And today I've got the most wonderful person, Talitha Oosthuizen. She's so inspiring. That's what we had to do. We had to inspire other women to go out and be the best that they can be. And we were just saying today, you never know what the next day is going to bring. You never know what God is going to throw your way. You've got to be prepared for everything, and you've just got to be able to go out there and enjoy every day and live every day as if it's your last, because it may well be. Over the years, Talitha, you've built so many businesses, but let's just go back to the little girl growing up. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to school? Take us right through up until you met your husband.
I grew up in a little town on the East Rand called Edenvale, and I went to high school in also in the East Rand at Goutrif Hoërskool, proper Afrikaans, and we also moved to a farm where I stayed for about 2 years, and farm life makes you humble, and it makes you grounded. But yeah, and then I went to university, Margaret, but after 6 months, I decided that wasn't for me. And I went to go and study beauty therapy. Qualified as a beauty therapist, and then I furthered my career in social media and marketing. But going back to where I met my husband, we were actually in the same high school in Goutrif, but we never talked because I was too young for him, and he's just a year older than me. And but he didn't, they always went for the older girls and not for the younger. But I went to university, met a guy in university. I was a dancer, and he was a dancer as well, and that didn't work out. We were together for about 3, 4 years, and my best friend at that stage, she was also in Goutrif. And when I broke up with this guy, she said, well, why don't we all get together and, my boyfriend and his best friend, and we got together again. And that's how I ended up meeting my husband again because we got reintroduced. And that was the end. From 2004, we met again. And 7 years later, we got married. And yeah, we will be married, yeah, this December, 16 years.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Hey, and it
Yeah,
just reiterates it's so important to look for the right person, to get the right person, because I always say your spouse will bring you 99% of your happiness or your unhappiness. And
absolutely.
you've always got to get somebody who builds you up. So do you find that he builds you up and he allows you to be the person you want to be?
Yes. Absolutely, Margaret. I will never forget my mom and my dad. When I introduced him to them, they always said to me that he is the one that rescued you out of my previous relationships and what happened. So yes, he's an absolute star. He builds me up. He's always there for me. He's my right hand, and he supports me in everything I do, and especially during my reign now as Mrs. South Africa First Princess as well. Margaret, he's just there for me, and I mean it's not always easy. There's times that I cry, and yes, and he's just there to pick me up and say to me, you've got this. I'm here for you, and jy het dit. Jy kan dit doen. He's just there. Yeah, I love him to bits.
But your father was also quite a big influence in your life. Tell us about your parents.
Yeah, my mom and my dad. So, my father taught me everything I know about business. He was an entrepreneur since a very young age, and so I grew up in a household where entrepreneurship was the essence, and he taught me everything, Margaret. I do think though, because he opened his company when he was about 32, and it was in the electrical businesses for Eskom. So he was a contractor for Eskom. And I have an older brother, and he always, thought that my brother would take over the business. But that was not the case. My brother went in a different direction, and he opened up his companies. And at the end of the day, I had to take over his company, and it bonded us. And he literally taught me everything. And I mean, that was not my background. It's not at all electrical work or contract work, nothing so forth. So he taught me everything. We were very close, and But unfortunately, my father passed away in 2021 due to COVID complications. And then I completely had to take over the business, doing everything, which was very hard for me and difficult. But that's the time when you grow the most and when you learn the most, is when you get thrown into the deep end. So yeah, very grateful for my dad. And my mom was, like they always say, a strong husband is actually the wife behind him that
Yes.
turns the neck and that's got the backbone. And
Yeah.
that was my mom. She was very supportive of my dad. She worked for him. She did all the books and the finances. And she taught me that side of the company again. So yeah, very fortunate. I grew up in a very loving household. And you need that in a household. You have to have parents that's there for you, that supports you, even even when, like, I opened up my first company and it was a complete disaster. But yes, but my father was there for me. My parents were there for me and they allowed me to go through that process. And afterwards they told me, that's your learning curve. Now you have to move on, realize what you did wrong, and come out stronger on the other side. So they gave me that push into becoming an entrepreneur as well. So no, very grateful for my parents. Love them to bits as well. And my mom stays with us at the moment. So we're very close. Yeah.
So I always say to people, you've got to have more than one stream of income. You have to do more than one thing. You can't just do one thing. And you've really been the epitome of that. I mean, I always say women can multitask. Men can't multitask. But as women, we can multitask. And we can just do a
Yes.
bit of this and a bit of that. And I'm all over the show. I'm doing my South African work, my American work, my, Mrs. South African work, my other
Yes.
work. There's always like a half a dozen different things. I think as women, we can really multitask. How do you find multitasking?
Yeah, Margaret, we absolutely can multitask. And even now with Mrs. South Africa, I had to readjust how I do everything and how I multitask now. But and that is where you also have to have a team
Yes.
that supports you and that aligns with what your vision is for your companies. Otherwise, that will also not work. And that's exactly what I can do all of this because I have that.
Yes.
But and multitasking in some instances, because it's very diverse, different companies, it's not always easy, but it's possible. But at the end of the day, everything is brought together because with all of it, you have to do marketing, you have to be online, you have to be a brand, and that forms part of every single company that I'm in. So yeah, I do agree. Multitasking is essential in having multiple companies. And that's one thing that COVID taught us, is to not have your eggs in one basket. Um, I tell you, we've got a touring company, Margaret, and during
That's what I
COVID,
said. Tell us about your touring company and your love for. Because what I love about you is that you promote South Africa. I love South Africa. I promote
yes,
South Africa all the
yes,
time.
I
But
absolutely love
how,
South
how did
Africa.
that come about? Now with the beauty and Wiscom marketing, and now a tourist company. How did you get into that?
And I must tell you, I never had a background in tourism at all, except that I love my country. Um, but my husband's brother, he was a guide for Drifters, a very well-known adventure company in South Africa, and he decided to step out and to start his own company. And it was in the beginning of my relationship with my husband. And then he said to me, well, why don't the two of you get together? Because I just got out of this beauty industry and the company that I opened, that was a disaster. So I didn't know in which direction I'm going to go. So my husband said to me, well, let's see if something might come from there. And he got the two of us talking, and in 2007 we opened up Bush Whisper Expeditions. And yeah, since then it has grown from strength to strength. We got through COVID. It was terrible. My father was our sponsor. He gave us the income and the funds to get through that year 2020. And that's where we also I opened up my the Sweshwe side of the company because we realized we had to generate another stream of income. And that's how we opened up our online shop, our Sweshwe side, and we did a fashion show that year. Yeah,
Ah,
so in some cases, COVID destroyed companies and people and households, but in others, it learned you how to think out of the box, and that's what
absolutely.
we did. Yeah,
And well done. And I love your Shweshwe stuff as well. I've got some of it, and I gave one item to my neighbor, and she absolutely loves it. But
wonderful.
you've learned some really hard lessons along the way. What is the toughest lessons that you think you've learned?
Margaret, is to pick yourself up. If you've fallen, is how do you get yourself up there? And it's a choice. It's an absolute choice. Everything in life, you have two choices. Am I go this way? Or am I go that way? And it's up to you. Life is up to you at the end of the day. You have to make. You've just got to make the right choice. And if you didn't, go
Yes.
back, revise, and make another choice.
Yeah. And tell us then some of the really good things, because you've had some amazing things happen to you.
Yes.
What sort of stands out as one of the most amazing things that's ever happened to you, apart from being the South African First Princess?
And being married to a wonderful husband. I
Yes.
have summited Kilimanjaro.
Okay.
And I've just completed Everest Base Camp, which was a true highlight for me. And opening up, taking over from my father's company, that was a highlight for me as well because it's a success story that
Yeah.
I'm proud of.
Yeah.
And yeah, so, but definitely my latest would be summiting Everest Base Camp. That changed my life, Margaret. It changed my
Oh,
life.
really? Now, my husband does it. I must say, climbing mountains doesn't do anything for me. He begged me to go up Kilimanjaro with him, and I said, sorry, I'm not going to do that. And then we climbed Monte Picchu, which he promised me the world if I went there. And I went, and it was 6 days up, 1 day down. It was absolutely, I hated it. He loved it. And then he did the space camp with a bunch of friends. I didn't go. It's not,
Wow. I
but what
didn't
is,
know that. Oh, wow.
but I do want to go to Nepal. It's one of the few places that I
Yes.
haven't been that he's been. But yeah, I think you've got to be very tough to do that. It's not for the faint-hearted, and especially me. I'm not a happy camper. I like my luxury, and yeah, it was not for me. That was not. Oh no.
Yes, it is a mind shift.
But my friend Jenny Galt, who's coming to stay with me next weekend, she climbs mountains. She's also done Everest Base Camp, and she's done Kilimanjaro, and she's climbed a few other mountains. And she said it's very
Yes,
addictive. Once you start, you don't want to stop. But thank
it's the
goodness, when
truth.
Alan was going to do Everest, and when he was there at base camp to go up and do Everest was the day that all the Sherpas died and the avalanche.
Oh, the avalanche.
So he came back, thank goodness, and then
Yeah,
I told him,
thank
I'm not going.
goodness.
No, I
No,
didn't want that.
no,
but
no. And it's
but
absolute true, Margaret. I'm doing two mountains next year.
oh
So it
really?
is addictive.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're very involved in your faith as well, your faith, your family, and that sort of gives you your purpose and your determination. Talk to
Yes.
us about that for the women out there who sort of, a lot of people, when things are wrong, you blame God. God, it's your fault, And
Yeah.
it really is.
It's not. It's your choice that you've made. Yes, Margaret, my faith is very important to me. That keeps me grounded. It's the center point of who I am, and in my relationship with my husband, it's the center point there as well because I cannot do anything without my faith. I just don't feel fulfilled if I do anything without him. And even when I was on the mountains, I can tell you I felt his presence there because it's so quiet and you see his wonder that he's created for all of us to experience. And yes, I just grew even so much closer to God and my faith when I did Everest Base Camp. And that's also why I say it changed me. But yeah, I cannot do anything. My companies would not be a success if it's not for my faith. I truly believe that.
Now, to the women sitting out there who feel stuck, I'm a little housewife stuck at home. I'm stuck in a corporate job that I don't like. I'm stuck here. I'm stuck there. What are you going to say to those women to just get them? because I think you only grow when you get out of your comfort zone. It's so comfortable to sit in your little comfort zone and
Yes.
have your little home and go to a little job and get a little bit of money and be happy with that. But there's so much more out there. And one of the reasons for this podcast is to tell other women that there's
Mm.
so much more that they can do. So to the women who are feeling like they're stuck in a rut at the moment, but they just haven't got that oomph to get up and get out there. I mean, I came to America at age 75 because I had to get out of my comfort zone. It was my way of doing it, but not everybody wants to do that. So talk to us, to women who are getting stuck and just to get out of their comfort zone.
You have to trust yourself. Number one, you have to know your worth, and you need to know that you are capable of doing anything that you set your mind to. But
Yes.
only you can do that. Nobody else can do that. It's your choice if you want to do it. And if you want it enough, you will do it. And it's possible, Margaret, but you have to understand that you might fail, and that's okay. Pick yourself up, do it again. You will find success, and it's worth it at the end of the day. But you have to believe in yourself and trust in yourself. You can do it.
Yeah.
It's
Now
possible. I
talk.
mean, you and I did it.
Yeah. So let's talk about your Mrs. South Africa journey, because that really also took you out of your comfort zone. Had you ever
Yes.
entered a pageant before, or was it something new to you?
Margaret, I entered Mrs. South Africa in 2014. So
Wow.
so last year was my second time entering, yes. But that was my learning curve. I didn't know who I was. And when I entered again, I knew exactly why I entered. And I think for the women out there that also wants to do something like similar, or want, like we said, open their own business or step into something new, you have to understand who you are and also why you want to do it. You have to have a reason. And for me, entering Mr. South Africa again last year was, for me, my why was I had to prove it to myself that I can do it. And I wanted to see how far can I push myself and how far can I go. Besides my purpose of founding my voice and talking about everything that happened to me in my life, that was an additional. For me, I wanted to test myself. I wanted to push myself.
What sort of made you decide this year I'm going to do it?
I say to myself, you owe it to yourself to enter again and to see where you can go. And I just did it. And I said it was, and I had a discussion with my husband because in when I entered in 2014, we were married for 4 years, so it was very new, and he didn't understand the pageantry world and why I wanted to do it. So when I entered again, I had that discussion with him, and I said to him, "This that feeling inside of me is never going to go away until I do it again." And he said to me, yeah, and he said to me, go for it. I'm here. I understand now. You have to do this for yourself. And he just supported me all the way. I couldn't have done it without his support. And it's
Yeah.
very difficult if you don't have a husband that supports you.
And did
So,
you,
yeah.
when you said I'm going for it, did you ever doubt yourself? Did you ever think, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this? Or what sort of
Ah,
tips were you given?
yes, yes, Margaret, there were many days that I doubted myself. But in those days, when you're out and down and under, you have to pick yourself up because that's the days that you grow the most. Because you have
Yes.
to dig deep. And there were many days that I had to dig deep because I was competing against South Africa's best. They are absolutely beautiful. They are all entrepreneurs. Most of the ladies, they are entrepreneurs. They know how to wear themselves. They know what to wear. They know how to handle themselves in very difficult situations. So I was confronted with a lot of doubts and insecurities because you start comparing, and and then you have to realize, but why am I comparing? And you go back to why you entered, and then
Yes.
you dim all the noise around you.
So, anybody who's followed Mrs. South Africa knows it's not a pageant about appearance. It's about, leadership, growth, purpose, and impact. And why I love Mrs. South Africa is I just see the women grow. And I want you to tell us about when you walked into that room with 130 women. It's very daunting to anybody to walk into there. And then it's going to be so exciting now for the July ball when you were in it last year when they narrowed you down to the 30. Tell us about your feelings when you were standing in the back there when they were waiting to call your name. And then, of course, in the finale, when you actually were the second princess, so you were the first name to be called, and now with Varishka handing a crown, and you got escalated to first princess. Tell us about that journey.
Margaret, when on the night of semi-final showcase, when they were about to start to announce, I was very nervous because you do not know how your interview went. There is
Yes.
none. It's not a security. You cannot say that it was great. My interview went great. I'm going to go through. There's nothing. There's no certainty. So I was standing and we were all holding hands. And I remember I took a moment to look at all the ladies around me. And I knew that I might not be one of them going through. And
Yes.
they called my name last, Margaret.
What? Oh my gosh.
They called my name last. And I remember I was so relieved. But the lady that was standing next to me, she was in tears because her heart was absolutely broken in that moment because she knew she's not going to go through because I was the last one. But I had to let go of her hand and step onto that stage. And as I did, I had a look at my little niece sitting in the crowd, and the tears were just flowing. And I realized what it meant for my family and for her, for me going through. And that was something else to experience as well. And in that moment, I realized I'm not just doing it for myself anymore, I'm doing it for them as well. And that changed. In that moment, the whole competition changed for me as well. And
Oh,
then I was announced, got my sash, and the journey began. And my second half of my journey, I approached very differently because I got serious about it. I knew that I have a chance now, even though there's 30 other ladies I'm competing against, and they are beautiful. They are strong. We were a very strong group,
really?
and
Oh, very strong. Very clever
very
bunch.
strong.
Wow.
Yeah, very clever bunch, very strong. And even though we were supportive of each other, we were very competitive against each other. So I had to bring my A game, and I did what I needed to do, Margaret. I worked hard. But that's what you need to do. If you want to push yourself and get somewhere, you have to work hard. You have to put in the hours. You have to put in the effort. They need to see that you want this. If they don't see it, why are they going to choose you? Because then it's not worthy. You are not worthy. So I pushed myself hard. And on the day of our interviews, I was again very nervous. But I also knew that now I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my businesses because you have to build your brand while you are in this competition. And because I didn't know, I was still uncertain if I'm going to place. So you have to build your brand for what's happening next. And but obviously I did well enough in my interview, and when they announced the top 5, I was very happy. But then I knew it's now time for Q&A on stage,
Oh,
which is another story again, but I knew I was ready for it. And it was so funny, Margaret, because Matapa asked me a question in interviews the day
yes.
before. And on the night of the competition, she asked me the exact same question.
Oh,
But
wow.
my answer was a whole lot different because she made me think. After my interview, I knew that I didn't answer that question correctly. And God gave me a second chance to answer
Oh,
that
wow.
question. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I ended up in a second princess, and I was blessed, Margaret. I was blessed to be in that position and to be announced as the second princess. And I was just so happy. So happy. Yeah.
How have you, I've seen you change over this time, but how have you seen yourself change over this time?
Margaret, my confidence, it definitely has grown. I feel that within me that I can now stand up on a stage and hold a crowd because I've learned to speak. I'm a public speaker now, which I was never. I so definitely there's a huge change in me, Margaret. Confidence wise, public speaking, inspiring my little niece and inspiring girls and women out there. And to hear that from them is quite something amazing. So, and then you know you're doing the right thing, Margaret. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I love it. I love working, especially with the young girls. I love working in the schools now. So just tell us a bit about your dress drive now, because I know I contributed. I only had one
Yes.
evening dress in Cape Town, which I donated. I've got a whole lot in Joburg, which I'm trying to get somebody to go and get for me. But because, the year that Josie Mom won, Joe Wilson won. I did a matric dance for a school, and we took all the dresses and
Yeah.
we let the girls choose the
Wow.
dresses, and it was just so amazing. It was really
Yes.
fantastic, and so amazing to see how they transformed from these little schoolgirls into these beautiful women. It was just the best thing
Yes.
ever. So
Yes.
well done for that, and tell us how it's going.
Thank you, Margaret. What I say, when I was crowned, with that crown comes a responsibility. And I wanted to give back because that was my purpose. It wasn't only for me, it's now for to serve. So this initiative started with a chat that I had with a friend, and she said to me her daughter was in matric last year, and the cost of her matric farewell was almost 30,000 rand, which is I tell you, and it's the matric farewell has become so competitive, and it's unnecessary because there's so many households in South Africa that cannot afford to even think about a matric farewell or a dress, because day-to-day life has become so expensive in South Africa. So a matric farewell dress is last on the priority list. um, and I just realized there's a gap. If we don't do something, these women are not going to be able to go to their matric farewells, and they deserve it. They've worked so hard for 12 years. 12 years, and now they're not going to celebrate that and go to their matric farewell. So they deserve it. They have to go. And this is where this matric drive started. So, Margaret, 2 weeks ago, we were on 50 dresses.
Okay.
Today, we have more than 300 dresses.
Oh, well done. That's
Yes,
incredible. Okay,
yes.
that's just so good.
So very blessed. The public has bought into this initiative, and I cannot say thank you enough for you, Margaret, and for Hirsch's Home Store for really supporting this drive. It's amazing. I'm just so fortunate and
And
blessed.
I believe
Thank you.
some more came in over the weekend. So, but
Yes.
let's go back to Mrs. South Africa, because I mean your dresses were amazing, and you designed your own dress. I mean the one for the finale was just spectacular. Tell us about how you decided, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to design my own dresses, and I'm just going to make them amazing.
Yeah. So I'm not a designer at all, and I can't draw to save my life. So whenever I do drawings in our little factory, they have to figure out what what I have done. So I rather explain to them rather than draw. So when I went to the designer who made my dress for me, I had this vision of someone standing on stage, and I had a vision of an angel, not that I am, but because of my faith. And I knew that I had to wear God's crown on my head. And when I walk in, it needs to shine out of me. My faith, the Holy Ghost needs to shine out of me. And that was why I chose a white dress. And I just loved my dress. So every bit of my dress was meant something for me. So I knew that when I step onto that stage, I had to feel confident, but it had to shine out of me because I had to believe in that moment that I'm worthy and that I can do this. And that's exactly what happened. When I stepped on that stage, Margaret, it was an aha moment for me. And that was in prelims. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
an absolute aha moment for me. I will never, ever, ever forget that moment. Never. Loved it, and so precious.
Yes. Oh, it was amazing, and you did look amazing. How do you think it changed your life the most? What changed the most in you, apart from your confidence from Mrs. South Africa? And what are you going to say to the other women who are watching, who are thinking, well, it's all very well for her, but I'm stuck at home with three kids, and I've got to do the
Yes.
washing and the dishes in the sink.
Yeah.
How do they get themselves out of that conundrum?
I always say to women that want to enter but they are scared of entering or entering anything in life
Hmm.
is that you are worthy and you have to choose yourself. For
Yes.
one time in your life, leave everything else behind. Stop thinking about your children and the husband, and for once, put yourself first.
Yes.
They will see your growth and they will appreciate you because they will then see, wow, mom, look at you. And I saw that in Mrs. South Africa. So many women that entered that's got children, their children changed completely because they
Absolutely.
saw their mom starting to bloom. So no, it's absolutely worth it. And besides my confidence that I got through this, I found my voice because so much happened in my life that I never talked about, Margaret. And I remember you and I had a discussion last year where I spoke about my insecurities. I had bulimia and I experienced injustice as a child, and I never spoke about it. But
Yes.
last year gave me my voice. And from since last year and up until now, Margaret, I've done more than 200 radio interviews talking, yeah, yeah, talking about all of this. And that
Yes.
makes it worth it because whatever happened to me, there is a way out. And
Yes.
if you're stuck in circumstances like that, look where I am today. You can get out of it, but it's a choice that you have to make. And it took me your 30 years to start talking about what happened for me because I didn't have the courage. And yes, it does take courage and
Yes.
it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, but I think courage is the word that I always use, because you have to have the courage to get over yourself, first of all, and put it
Yes,
out there,
yes,
and let people know exactly who you are and not be ashamed of it. This has happened,
yes.
but it grew me, and I grew in these tough times. But I
I,
just
s-
want to talk about dresses and clothes, because to
yes,
me, dressing is very important. My husband always
yes,
says, "Oh, God's sake, don't need another dress." I say, "I don't need another dress, but I do need to have new stuff," and I love clothes, as you know, as well. I think it's beyond just what you wear. It's when you feel good, you look good, and you have that confidence. If you feel grotty, you look grotty, and you just don't have the confidence. To
yes.
me, that's what it's all about.
It's true. Absolutely for me the same. If I don't feel what I'm wearing on that day, you can
Yeah,
see it immediately.
yeah,
I have to feel comfortable in what I wear. And because we can make all of our, like today I'm wearing my sweatshirt jacket and that's what we designed and what we've made. And for all of my interviews that I did for Mrs. South Africa, we also designed my own outfits because I knew that if I step into that interview room, I have to feel confident in what I'm wearing because then I will step into my interview because I'm wearing my own outfit. I will have that oomph, I'll have the power. And that is exactly what happened. And it gave me a talking point because you have to be clever. In whatever you do in life, you have to be clever, think about, be intentional about everything you do. And I have to say this to you, Margaret, because of what happened to me in life, I always say I'm not a survivor, I'm a warrior. And
yes,
all of us women are warriors, and we need to stop thinking of us in a survival mode and surviving. We are not that, we are warriors.
yes. I always say when I put my makeup on in the morning, I'm putting my war paint on, and I'm going out, and I'm going to go
Exactly.
see what the world's got to throw at me today. Yeah.
Yes, I've got the armor of God. Nothing is going to disturb me. Yes.
I think it's also important for us as women to feel valued, because if you don't fit in, people don't value you, then you don't have that feeling about yourself of being so worthy. And I think it's being feeling worthy is really, really important as well. Talk to me about that, about being valued and being worthy.
Yeah. If you don't value yourself, nobody else is going to find you valuable. So you
Yes,
have to start within yourself and believe in yourself know your worth, know your own value. But
Yes.
in order to do that, you need to know who you are. And that you have to go deep, deep. Because I didn't even know what egg I wanted when I entered Mrs. South Africa the first time. I didn't know my favorite color. And that's the simple things in life. But that forms part of who you are. So for you to go find out who you are, make a list, start with a basic list and ask yourself questions. And you will find your value. And in that way, others will see your value and also in what you do in life. You have to be intentional of choices you make, of in which direction you're going to go, intentional about your children, and they will see your value within whatever you do in life and how worthy you are.
Yes. Well, like throughout your life, I mean, whether it's conservation or anti-poaching or anti-human trafficking, awareness, entrepreneurship, even the dress drive, one thing stands out about you is that you genuinely care about making a difference. Where did that come from? Because I mean, a lot of us just go plod, plod, plod with our own life. To me, my aha moment was when I won Businesswoman of the Year in 2012. I thought, I've got something I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave something behind. I just don't want to pass through this earth and that was the end of that type of thing. So
Yes.
where did you get the drive from?
Margaret, I think my drive came from leaving a legacy of true impact because
Yes,
that is what I want to do. And that came from a place of digging deep last year when I found my voice. And
yes.
I asked myself, but why do you want to find your voice? Why is it so important for you to talk about what happened? And that is where I got my aha moment because someone else can learn from me and I can have an impactful meaning on someone else's life because so many cannot come out of what's happened to them. In human trafficking, so many kids, so many girls, so many boys don't come out of their circumstances and some of them die because of what happened to them. And they didn't have a chance to speak up. A rhino doesn't have a voice. So someone needs to be there to talk for them. And that was when I realized I have to be that voice and I want to bring change and hope into people's lives because there's always hope, there's always a way out. And yeah, my legacy of really true impact. And I'm working hard towards that. And you never ever fulfill any of your dreams because once you've reached something, there's always another mountain and another horizon you see, and you have to keep on pushing yourself. And but that is my aim.
So what advice would you give to the ladies at home there who want to make a difference, but they just don't know where to start? I would
Yeah.
like to make a difference. We had those aha moments, with putting ourselves
Yes.
out there and getting it. But to the woman who's sitting there, where did they start, would you say to them?
In their own household. Just
Yeah.
start in your household, impacting your little girl, your boy, and then maybe get involved in your community projects. That's where you can start making a difference. You don't have to start big and now you want to do this whole journey, and you don't have to do an event. Start with at home, start small in your community, and that's where you can make a real change, is in your community so that they also can see and your community can start believing in who you are and see your worth, and they will also start encouraging you and build you up.
Worn so many hats in your life: entrepreneur, adventurer, wife, business owner, Mrs. South Africa princess. When you look back on your journey so far, what are the biggest lessons that life taught you, do you think?
Is to never give up, Margaret. Never ever give up. If you fall down, you have to pick yourself up. Um,
Yeah.
and how I conquered it. That's an achievement for me, and I can be proud of it. But definitely is how you fall down and how you pick yourself up was one of the biggest lessons, especially in COVID. That was
Yeah.
it. It was tough. It was tough, but that taught me resilience, and that's how I got through my Mrs. South Africa journey. If you don't have resilience, you're not going to
Yeah.
get anywhere.
You really won't.
You've got to
Because
have that thick skin.
you've got to have, know how to overcome failure. You've got to know how to accept success. Because often when you leave
Yes.
a hard time, you've been beaten down, and suddenly you're successful, and people say, "Oh, well done." You say, "Oh, well, it wasn't that bad." Oh, probably. And you've got to be
No.
able to put yourself out there and say, "Yeah, thank you, Lord. It just actually all came together."
Yes, you have to celebrate your small crowning moments, Margaret. You have to celebrate them. But you have to do it in a way that you also stay humble and not think that, oh, I've got everything now and I'm just the hen in the ball. No, 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 no. There's always someone that's better than you, so that you need to remember you are humble and you always still need to grow and improve on yourself. And life will throw you lemons. Are you going to make lemonade or are you going to be a half lemon? So you have to make that choice. But it's important to realize that even though you are successful in life, that people can still value your worth and see that you are staying humble, because that's how you're going to impact people to also start believing in who you are and in your vision.
So, what advice would you give a woman who's I'm just waiting for the right time? It's not right. I just got married. It's not right. I've just had children. I'm just not right. I've started a new job. Time's not right now. The time is never going to be right. How do you get them to just say, now's the hour?
They have to make that decision and say, this is it, I'm going to do it now, and they just need to start. I had a discussion with one of the ladies that competed with me last year, and we got close, and her name is Sam, and on the night of the crowning, I she wrote a book, and I don't know why, it was such a random moment we had, and I said I want to write a book one day. And we had a meeting last week, and she said to me, have you started with your book yet? And I said to her, no. And she said to me, well, why not? And this is exactly the same thing, Margaret. Why haven't I started with my book? And the thing is, I just need to pick up the pen and start writing. Even it's a Scrabble or anything, I have to start. And if you're not going to start, it's not going to happen. It's as simple as that.
You do push yourself. You pushed yourself to climb mountains, and to me that. But just people always say to me, "Why did I come to America? I came for the adventure." But why do you want adventure in your life? Well, to me that's important. But you like mountains, you like adventure. What excites you about pushing yourself physically and mentally?
The success, the
Yeah.
absolute success of it, that a moment of I've achieved this. And then in that moment, I again ask myself, what's next? What am I going to do next? Because there always has to be something else that I push myself towards to. But it's that moment of, yes, I did it. And that is, nothing can take that away from you, Margaret. Nothing. Your success, and nobody can take that away from you. Your awards you've won, nobody can take it away from you. And it's, you did the hard work to do that. And the same with me. If I don't put in the hard work of exercising and planning meticulously of how I'm going to conquer the next mountain, it's not going to happen. But then when it does, it's such a great feeling, Margaret. It's unbelievable. And of course, anything I do in life, I cannot do it without my faith, my family, and my husband.
Yeah, I think there are lots of similarities between climbing mountains and overcoming adversities in life, because the mountain, I know when my husband did it, you just got to put one foot in front of the other. And often a lot of days you feel like you're just putting that one foot. But what did mountains really teach you about the resilience and sort of, just being able to just decide, I'm just going to keep going, and perseverance? It teaches you that as well.
I have to have a reason why I climb mountains. So when I did Everest Base Camp, I did it for human trafficking and for anti-poaching. So when I had those moments of doubt, where on Mount Everest, while we were going up, my husband got sick and I treated him. But in that, at the end of our journey, where it was really the most, it was tough. I got ill. And yes, so I remember the one night I was lying in bed and I struggled to breathe. I had that moment of everything was just on me and I had to open a window, and it was minus 15 outside, but I just had to get in that fresh air. And in that moment, I said to myself, who are you doing this for? It's not just for yourself. You want to get to that rock that says Everest Base Camp, you did it, so that you can have that flag that you've carried all the way and say to them, I did it for you. Anti poaching and shattering shackles, the fight against human trafficking. I have to have a purpose.
I just, what I love about your story is that it just teaches you life isn't about just waiting for the perfect moment. That is just not going to be easy. But by showing up and taking chances and embracing the challenges and using the experiences that you've learned to teach other people. And I think that's what, as you said, you're in a life of service now. If you had to just leave one message to the women who've listened to us today, what would you like the message to be to them so that they can actually go out and live their life to the fullest? Because I always say you don't want to die with your music still in you. You know, you've got so much left to
You've got
give
so much.
out in the world.
Yes. Margaret, it's to find your own rhythm. Find your heartbeat, find your rhythm, find out who you are, find your worth, and you can conquer any mountain what you set for. You are a warrior, you are not a survivor, and you can do anything that you set your mind to. But you've got to take that leap of faith and that first step.
And just tell us now about a little bit about when you were crowned second princess, and then when Varushka handed her crown, you were elevated to first princess. How did that whole system work out?
Margaret, it was all meant to be. I honestly think it was all meant to be, and I was and I am where I need to be right here. It was Karika's purpose to do and to be on the Mrs. Globe stage since
Yeah,
day one. She was
yeah,
born for it, and I'm so happy for her. But if she was going to be crowned on the night, she was going to be entering Mrs. World, and I would have gone to Mrs. Globe, which was never the intention. It was always Karika. So it worked out perfectly. And I have to say, I'm so proud of Karika, how she stepped into the role as queen, and she did so well on the Mrs. Globe stage as well. But Margaret, I am so content with being first princess, and of all, and me, I mean, I got bumped up to first princess. I was so happy. So now, very blessed, very fortunate, and I took it on with both arms because I then realized I'm now first princess. I have more of a responsibility to do what I need to do and to serve.
yeah. No, you really do. And you've done such an amazing job. And you're such a good example to all the other women out there, how life can just throw you lemons, but you make lemonade. Whatever happened, you picked yourself up, you got on. And I just know you're going to love the rest of this year of your reign as first princess. And I know that you're going to do amazing things. I really hope the women out there who've all got those dresses are going to hand them in at the Hershey's home stores. We'll get them to you. And yeah, I just think it's going to be an amazing drive, and I can't wait to see all those girls having their matric dances, because some of them have already started, but a lot of them are
Yes,
still going to be happening. So that's going to be
yes,
incredible. And I wish you every success going forward. Well done on your journey so far. You're such a good example to the girls out there. I'm really hoping you're going to go into the schools and speak to the teenage girls who really need, because they don't have good role models at home, a lot of them. And you're just such a good role model to let them know that no matter what life throws at you, you can pick yourself up, dust yourself up, and
yes,
start all over again and still come out and be successful, be
absolutely.
beautiful, and have all these amazing businesses under your wing. It's just incredible. So,
Thank you,
Denise,
Margaret.
thank you very much. What's your parting shot to everybody out there going forward?
For me, going forward is do what you need to do, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I've written out what I want to do for the next half of this year because it's important for me to know. I have to have a vision, I have to have a plan, otherwise it's also not going to happen. So I have my vision board, and there's so much to come, Margaret, and you will see there's so much more to come. And yes, I am going to be talking at schools, and also to be that role model for the young people out there. But for all women, I mean, it is possible and you can do it. So make your plans, write it down, and make sure to keep yourself to what you are writing down.
Absolutely. Oh, it's been amazing chatting to you today. Thank you so much. We wish you every success going forward. And I can't wait to see you again when I'm back in SA later this year. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Talitha. It's
Margaret.
been wonderful having you on the show today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this opportunity, Margaret. I truly appreciate. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for watching the show today. We hope you've enjoyed every minute of it as I have. If you like the show, please like and subscribe below. And I look forward to seeing you as another exciting lady next week who's going to hopefully inspire you to be the best you that you can possibly be. Thank you.